Well, we just watched episode 8 of season 2 of Gotham, entitled Tonight's the Night. Sounds like a musical, but it wasn't. They didn't go for that option. So what did we learn? Well, we learned that Ed Digma has a sweet, sweet ride. Earlier we found out that he has a sweet apartment. What is this guy doing? Selling body parts? Possibly? I don't know. What's going on there? Speaking of Ed, what's the best food to eat when you're burying your loved one in the woods? Finger sandwiches. Of course, finger food. It's nice, simple, not too messy. And lastly, this was a very special episode of Gotham. Yes, we got the inevitable wedding episode. It wasn't exactly a happy occasion, though. I'm Chad Perkins, and this is After Gotham. Let's talk about Gotham, right? Yeah. Welcome to After Gotham. I am Chad Perkins. Thanks for joining us. A little bit late on this edition, but we're bringing it to you. And please welcome to the red couch of
awesomeness.
Yeah,
Comics.
The red couch of. Thank you, Dave. The red couch of comics from In the Comics and In the Comics Dead Edition. He is David Cottingham, and the other half of In the Comics and In the Comics Dead Edition. Please welcome back to the show, Russell Johnson.
Thank you.
Russell.
I'll be back. Thank you.
You're welcome. Guys, first impressions. Start with you, Russell.
It was a so-so episode. Yeah, I wasn't real thrilled with it. I loved the season so far. I think it's been a better season. I think it's been better than the last. They really stepped up their game. But this episode, I know it was Barbara-centric and kind of maybe wrapped up her storyline at least for some time. But it seemed like it was the crazy ex-girlfriend episode, and it's kind of like I kind of got. There was so much devoted to that. It kind of drew me away from the whole Galavan and Bruce story, which was there, but it was just kind of, as important as that was to like the overall storyline, it was kind of like, it wasn't really, didn't get a lot of face time, as it were, and the Enigma stuff was good, but it felt a little second fiddle to that Barbara story, which I felt Barbara could have been a secondary story.
Okay.
Honestly, but that's my opinion.
Dave, thoughts on the episode?
Yeah, I liked it. I understand everything Russ just said, but I think in the end it kind of served its purpose. Where I think they're trying to move away from Barbara. Actually, they're trying to kind of get her out of the way a little bit. So it didn't. We could talk about it, I guess, but it didn't end the way it wanted it to. But I think the tension and everything was okay. I mean, it felt like, I tell you what it felt like while they were in the car. It felt like Seven. It felt like they were talking to John Doe in the back, and she, it felt very Seven-ish to me. But anyway, I liked it. I think it probably wasn't one of the best this season, but it was pretty good on par.
Well, let's just kind of take it back to the beginning of the episode. We had this dream sequence, which I think we all figured out pretty quickly. It was a dream sequence, but Barbara was getting married to Jim, and then it switched to Lee, and she was chained up with the inmates from Arkham, and then this bird pops out of her mouth. I guess we could interpret different things from that. What did you guys interpret from her spitting out a live bird?
I didn't really draw much from it. I'm still thinking about it. I didn't really draw much from it. On that, it was just
weird,
crazy dream sequence. That,
Now, who else do we know that it is a type of bird?
Penguin.
Yeah.
Who was at the end of the episode? Penguin. Right. Do we think?
I don't think so.
Penguin should have came out of her mouth.
Well, that would be a little. Yeah.
Could have been a little penguin.
Little penguin. Oh, how cute.
Yeah. No, I didn't. I just thought the whole sequence was weird anyway. So that didn't really. I don't think that really metaphor-wise.
She was. That was her innocence. leaving her.
Okay. Thank you for trying.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know,
There you
that was
go.
something.
Innocence flying away.
Out of it. Well, it came out of her, you know, and this episode she goes, I mean, she's been full on bat crazy, but this was really her moment to really inhabit that craziness. So maybe that was, okay, the bird's gone, now it's time to let loose.
Maybe, cage birds, or birds aren't meant to be caged,
I'm free. Yeah.
Let's fly away, exactly. Maybe this is her freeing moment, and after this,
Right.
she's going to get the help that she needs to rejoin society as a functioning member, and so forth. But probably not. Yeah, probably not.
I don't see how he could. But.
Right.
I mean, shouldn't she be going to prison for like life? Didn't she kill people? She's killed
Oh, yeah,
people, right?
She's killed her parents.
Yeah, I mean, she should be in prison for life.
Yeah.
There's no like rehabilitating that. So, regardless.
I was just surprised she didn't make out with Lee at some point because she's making out with everybody on the show. So
I probably would have started liking her then.
yeah, I was like, was she gonna make out with her because getting really close to her face? And who knows
that
what
would
point.
have been, been cool.
Did you notice what was laying all over her on the bed when she woke up? It was like all this S&M gear and bondage
So
stuff.
all that. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's like,
because of the sister, right?
I guess.
Sister Tabitha.
Tabitha.
Yeah.
Freaky stuff going on there.
I like
So
that.
we got a little bit of misdirection in the previews for this episode last week. We saw the scene where Jim kisses Barbara and Lee is there, and we kind of get the idea that Jim didn't know Barbara was there, or Lee was there, and she's seeing this. But of course, he all knew everyone was behind the the two-way mirror. But what did you think was going on in Jim's mind? He said it was a judgment call. What judgment do you think? Do you think it actually was a judgment call, or it was him getting sucked back into her? Because right now, honestly, after this episode, I don't know.
I saw it as a judgment call. I felt like he was doing that completely to get her to go along with trying to reveal some information. I think he's completely devoted to Lee. I think he's completely devoted to that relationship and not Barbara anymore. But I just don't think, and I think it came out in this episode, I just don't think Lee understands Jim Gordon. And I think he's so determined to fix the city and to do right, and he's not going to let anything stop that. And if she's trying to domesticate him in a way, I guess, I just don't think he's that type of person. I don't think she really understands him in that sense. So I think I don't think he has anything for Barbara. I think he's completely trying to find out information that can put Gallivan away completely.
Russell, do you put any stock in what Barbara's saying about how Jim and her are similar and there's a dark side of Jim? And is that what Lee doesn't understand about Jim, or is that even there?
Honestly, I felt that. I mean, I actually buy into that because this episode, Lee was like telling him, "You have a problem too. You have an issue of rushing into danger and not, doing all these things without putting much thought into it." Because she was telling him the whole time, just put her in a hospital where she needs to be. And he's just like, no, I'm going to go along with this ridiculous plan, even though it's, so he kind of rushes headlong as well. So he has some, I don't know if there's darkness inside of him, but there definitely is this this need just to do the right thing at all cost, even to his own safety and it's going to affect other people. His own, he thinks it's all about, well, I'm the one, rushing into danger. I'm the one taking the risk, but he risks other people's lives around him when he does that, whether it's directly or indirectly. And Lee loves him, and she's like, you have an issue as well that you need to confront. And I think that's what a lot of that was. I think he does have his own issues going on somewhere inside there. They don't manifest themselves as crazy like Barbara and the villains do, but he wouldn't be as kind of, he's just so hard and fast in one direction that he can't be stopped. So I think there is some weight to what she says.
Right.
That they're the same, but again, I don't think they manifest themselves in the same ways.
See, I don't think what he does is wrong. I don't think what he does is an issue.
Okay.
Because I think, especially in that town, that's the stuff you got to do to fix things. Because no one before him did any of that, and what was happening? Every cop was corrupt. Every villain was out there doing what he wanted. So there's extreme circumstances to what you have to do. If he's willing to go down that road, I mean, none of those guys, to be honest, like Bullock, he didn't have to go. You know, he's not telling everybody to go do this. So to me, I don't think it's a problem. I think he's doing his job. He even said it. I think I'm doing my job. I mean, right now that's their job, is to put the bad guys away.
Yeah, and even in the few episodes that we've had Captain Barnes on, who has come in as this very staunch, by-the-book captain, even in this episode, I kind of noticed him turning a little bit of an eye to some of the stuff, like when Jim walks in and just cold clocks Galavan, and he's just kind of like, because normally if it was the first couple episodes, he would have been like,
Right.
Yeah.
So I think even the Captain Barnes, is starting to take that path that Jim did, because Jim came in as a very by the book, and Bullock was the one telling him like, "Hey man, this is Gotham. It's not really how things work."
I don't think it. Like I said, I wasn't trying to say it was a problem. I'm saying it causes issues in his life and for other people. Like, so they went through all this, the whole Barbara story to get right back to where they should have been. He should have just put her in prison to begin with. But he's like, I got to get confession on Galavan so I can get him. Blah, blah, blah. So all this stuff happened. Cops died because of it, and he knew it was a trap and all this other stuff. And it's like, just put her in prison. She would have spilled the beans anyway at some point. So we went through this whole big people. I mean, it was chaos. Well,
let's talk about that actual plan, because you, Russell, had talked a little bit about before we started rolling how things just kind of went to crap.
Yeah.
Do you have any issues with that?
No, I don't have an issue. I mean, I take it for what it is. I mean, Gotham, the police department themselves, I mean, they're always, even in the comic books, they're getting slaughtered all the time. It's like GCPD just never, it kind of goes along with the characterization, but GCPD, outside of like Gordon and Bullock and even the captain, are really, they're pretty incompetent police officers, because again, they're going to this obvious trap, and they have, they got their car, they're prepared for it, they know a trap is coming, they're supposed to be geared up, they got an armored vehicle behind them with all these cops in and everything, SWAT team and everything, and it takes a truck, an accident, and like a couple guys with guns and masks to wipe them all out and kill more of the
task force.
The task force guys.
We got new task force.
Exactly.
They're their first mission, and they're already
getting wiped out. So I don't have an issue with it necessarily. It's just kind of it is what it is. It creates the comic book action that you read in the books anyway. That's kind of what it is. But it's typical of the GCPD. It's just like,
typical GCPD.
They're just going to get wiped out. Somebody's going to get killed.
They're the stormtroopers.
Joker's going to come in and
DC universe.
Exactly.
Can't hit anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. One thing I kind of had a little bit of a problem, but it's the same thing. You take it for what it is when they got T-boned. I know it hit more of the front part of the car, but Jim and Bullock were out, and Barbara was fine. She was able to shimmy out, and there was enough of an impact to where she could get out of the back, which was locked, to go over there without a scratch and be like, "What, are you going to shoot me, Jim?"
Yeah, exactly.
But
it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is. Well, as you said, there was other things going on in this episode, as interesting or more so interesting. This we finally figure out Galavan's game with bringing Bruce on, and why he hasn't just killed him with that big O knife yet. He wants Bruce, who is 51%, or he's the majority.
51%,
it is 51% owner of Wayne Enterprises. Turn it over to Galavan so he can clean up the company as only he can. But the caveat is, or the signing bonus, as I even think he said, here's this folder with who killed your parents. If you sign over your company, I'll give you this. Which immediately makes him sound dirty.
Yeah.
Right.
If he had just gone with, I want to clean up Wayne Enterprises, sign it over to me, I think Bruce would have been more apt to do it. What were your guys' opinion on that?
I had the issue I had was I was like, Bruce, you're a detective. Are you not? Are you going to be a detective or what? Galavan tells him the story. He's like, you weren't supposed to be there that night. Your dad changed plans. You're going to see, like, he had all these details about before the event happened. So I'm like, if I was Bruce, I'd be like, how did you know?
Wait a second.
Exactly. But he was just like, I just want it to be over. I just want it to be over. I felt that was kind of, I don't know, in the comic books, the death of Bruce's parents is the motivating goal for him to become Batman. It drives him, it pushes him, it keeps him going. You know, I've never seen the comic book at any point, even flashbacks or kid stories or anything like that he ever wanted it to be over, because that's his fuel to become Batman. So to know the killer and or just have it be done with and just let me move on with my normal childhood seems a little un-Batman-esque like. You know, but I understand why they did it. I mean, I understand Galvan wanted to get in his head and, you know, get him to turn over the company, which I'm glad the resolution at the end turned out the way it did. It wasn't like Alfred stepped in or, you know, somebody else came in and said, Bruce, you can't do this. You know, he finally said, I can't do it. So that felt more like bringing him back to being the Bruce who's going to be Batman. You know, that felt more like he made a judgment call. He made his own judgment call where he's like, I can't do this out of my own conscience, which made me feel better about the whole crying to Alfred thing. You know, I just wish Alfred would be like, Bruce, don't sell your company. You know, but because he does that from time to time. But I felt it kind of threw me off a little bit there with Alfred saying, you know, yeah, do it.
Well, it was
because you're the legacy of your father, not
right.
his
Yeah,
company.
I did like that line.
You know,
and there was another line I liked from Bruce, and that was, "People often underestimate me."
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was because people underestimate Batman, the Batmans. Yeah, but Dave, what did you think of Bruce's line of thinking to where he got to his decision?
Yeah, you know, like Russ said, like in the books, he always knows who killed his parents. So there's never that mystery which Gotham has created that he's trying. It's almost like they're setting up a reason for him to become Batman, is to find out who his parents was or his parents' killer was, and then the corruption in Wayne Enterprises and all this stuff. So they're compiling reasons for him to become Batman versus just the fact that my parents were killed in the alleyway of Gotham. No one is safe. I need to stop all of this. Mm-hmm. And he needs, as far as Batman goes, he needs the company because he needs financing to finance Batman. So the thinking that he went through in this episode, where I can give all of that up just to know who the killer is because I don't even have a thought right now of stopping the corruption.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, that is very un Bruce Wayne-ish. So I think it's good. We'll see, I guess, in the next few episodes if his decision is based on, I want to find out on my own. I want to, you know, do more than just find out who killed my parents.
If that information is out there, if you, Gallivan, can figure out this information, then surely I can too.
Right.
Well, right. Russ, what did you think about him asking Alfred, when you're talking about this training, how long were you talking about? He was almost like he was saying, how long till I'm Batman?
We're
talking a year? Yeah. We talking 2-year stops? How long till I'm the Batmans?
Yeah, that was a little odd as well because.
What do you think, it came out of desperation or?
Yeah, I think. I mean,
well, he had the question posed to him already.
Yeah, I mean,
about the company. It's
kind of like those. You know, I'm still looking from a comic book perspective of thing. From a TV show perspective, yeah, he's just like got so much weight on his shoulders right now, especially with the offer from Gallivan. He's like, look, if this isn't gonna, if I'm not, it's not gonna happen immediately, then it would be better off just get rid of it, and then I don't have to worry about anything. You know, I think that's where that came from, and asking, how long is it going to take? Well, if it takes too long, then if I'm not going to be a grown adult before this actually happens, then forget it. It's not worth it. I think he was looking for a way out to justify selling it. You know, he needed more than just, I got to name my parents, but he's like, look, this is too tough a road. I just can't do it right anymore. I've had too much to deal with. So I think that's where that
just
came
now
from.
Discovering girls, for God's sake. There's this blonde chick who's all into me. I don't have time for this parent stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or becoming the Batsmans.
But that's why she's there.
He's got silver there. He's got, you know.
Yeah. Did anyone want, when he asked how long, did anyone want Alfred to say, well, you've got to go join the League of Assassins and you're going to train there for a while and you're going to go live abroad.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go down that road.
You don't think so?
I mean, the way it looks, no, because...
Well, he's still 13, 14. I mean,
before in the other books, Alfred never trained him.
Right.
So he had to go somewhere.
Yeah,
This is like, why even think about going anywhere when I got someone here that's going to train me?
I guess till
unless something comes across him, you know, like
Yeah.
a League of Assassin does come,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh, where did you train?
Yeah,
I need to go where
This
you're
is
at.
next
Right,
level
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, that's right.
Alfred doesn't know that.
Alfred just taught me boxing.
Yeah, exactly.
He taught me British stuff.
He doesn't need to learn to take on 500.
That's
men.
right.
Wow. Yeah. So
Isn't that what he says? Like, you've learned how to take over fight 5. I learned how to fight 500 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All with an
It's
umbrella.
Roz. So, yeah. Oh, with an umbrella, yeah.
Yeah. So the other storyline that was going on in this episode was with Ed Nigma and Miss Kringle. Who he still calls Miss Kringle.
God. Yeah.
Who's now in a suitcase. And it's a nice suitcase, you know? I mean, apparently Ed, like, we determined is
Makes
rich.
good money.
He's
Makes
got
good money,
nice
GCPD.
car, nice apartment.
Forensics, man.
Very
Yeah.
vintage, this guy. So he's taking her on a lovely picnic out in the woods to bury her. And along comes a hunter. And he's like, hey, what's that, a dead body? And he
Pretty much.
like, yeah, 2 of them, bong! And he goes down, and then he went back to his car to get the bone saw, right? The
Yeah.
saw. Yeah. Bone saws, ready! Different company. He comes back, and...
Shallow grave, man. Got to fit 2 of them.
Yeah, and his finger foods, his finger sandwiches have been eaten. And what was it? Did it look like was that a blood trail or a jelly trail? I
I think it
couldn't
was
tell.
jelly.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, it probably was a blood trail. Now you find out who it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, exactly.
At the time, you're like, who walks across 2 dead bodies in the woods and sees
Just
finger
eats the
sandwiches?
sandwiches.
First of all,
That's what I was thinking.
First of all, you don't eat food just laying out in the woods.
Exactly.
I wouldn't do that. That'd be first suggestion.
Huh.
Not to do
Dead
that.
body, trunk, ooh, finger sandwich.
Sandwiches. Delicious. I'm hungry. And then leave. You know, I
totally agree.
So, but
Yeah.
I mean, you find at the end, of course, why it made
Makes sense.
But
Yeah, maybe
to the
someone
show,
who
you're
would
just like-
kill a dude for a sandwich in episode 1 might have done something like that.
He said that hunter
That
must have
fisherman.
made some damn fine finger sandwiches because he's dead now. Over it.
Yeah.
Somebody had to take him out.
2 glasses of wine? Oh, this is... Stumbled upon
It
a
was
nice
flight,
little
you know,
evening, a nice little
but
making
yeah,
of the day of it.
Don't eat food just laying around
No.
that you find.
No. But obviously this is the beginning birth of the Riddler. He's not fighting with this other side. He is no problem with murder now. You know, he's very much just like Penguin was and has been since the beginning of the series. But he goes off into the woods, finds this trailer, and then out comes a penguin, and he's wounded. And I loved how Ed said, Mr. Penguin. And it's like, Mr. Frodo. You know, it's like-
Yeah.
So he's still very mannerly. Now, is that a comic book trait of the Riddler? He seems like kind of he's a well-dressed guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can interpret it several ways, but he's not. I wouldn't say he's like properly in
Yeah,
comic
exactly.
books, but he does have that tendency with his riddles and stuff too. Be like, I'm smarter than everyone, and I can have this air about me, type of thing. I think I may come along a little bit later because now he's just now come to terms with his 2 halves. So I think it'll start to grow. He'll start to get more arrogant and more. I think he's still at that point where he sees Penguin, that's why this episode really, coming from last episode, the end of that episode was just crazy action, all these things resolving themselves to some degree or another. And then that's why I felt this episode was like, oh, we slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because Penguin, that was a pretty intense scene at the end there. I mean, where Penguin's just like, forget, I'm done. Killed his mom. I mean, all this stuff happened. So
Yeah.
it was interesting to see Penguin in that. He's taken himself from being the lowly guy, carrying the umbrella, to rising up to right to the very top, and now he's in a trailer in the woods. So I think that's kind of a good, at least, arc for him to see
Yeah.
where that goes. So I'm interested in that for sure.
Dave, any speculation, wild or otherwise, about what he's doing in this trailer? We saw him get shot in the last episode. He obviously hasn't really tended to that.
Yeah, I think he's the bottom, man. He's just nowhere to really go. Butch is cured of him basically, and he's got no friends anymore. I mean, he's got his goons still, I guess, but maybe most of them got wiped out or killed or something like that. And so, I don't know what else he can do. I don't know how he can get his empire back, I guess, in a sense, but. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, looks like Nigma's going to help him do something.
I have a wild speculation, if I can speculate wildly. We know that his dad is coming.
True.
He goes looking for his dad, finds him in the woods. That's his dad's little trailer or whatever. And he was protecting his dad, maybe. Or he went to his dad to get help and he heard Ed outside and went out.
Well, didn't he ask Ed for help? He said, "Help me." So
Yeah,
I don't
but
think
you can never
he's-
trust a penguin. I don't know.
I don't think his dad.
Can't trust
Because I was actually wondering whose trailer that was, and I was thinking maybe it was the Hunter's trailer. But
Yeah, that's good.
so
Yeah, that's good.
And he's dead now.
and he's dead now, so he just took it. He's just, it's
You won't be
in
needing
there,
this.
you know.
You're in a ditch.
So I don't know how his dad's going to factor in. I figured he was going to be
I thought he'd be
on
around
here
with
by
his
now.
mom.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I thought it was going to be a family reunion of sorts. But
yeah.
I think the dad will come in when he gets word that the mom is
dead.
dead. Yeah.
Probably.
So the other end, right before that end of the episode, was the fall, literally, of Barbara.
Yeah.
Who thought she was actually going to die? Because I did.
I thought she was gonna.
I wanted her to die.
Did you think
that
she was
count?
going to?
I thought
No, I
she
didn't think she was going to.
Were you upset she wasn't pantsless?
I think she was pantsless underneath the
was.
dress. So
Oh yeah, she was pantsless.
she had pants on.
No pants
She had
on.
dress on.
Yeah, no pants policy. No pants policy.
no, I thought for a second there, I thought she's going to try to let go, but he's going to pull her up.
Right.
Now, once she started falling, I was like, yes,
She did.
She's dead.
I thought that wasn't like
Yeah,
a couple
and there was-
stories. That was
No.
That was a
It
long.
was a church tower.
yeah,
that was way
that
up
was
there.
a
Way
long
up there.
fall. That
But I
was
thought
a Mooney fall.
But I
It's a fish Mooney fall.
I did not think she was going to die. I thought he was going to pull her back in. But once she did let go, I was like, yes.
I thought she. I mean, it's like there's some big bushes down there.
Yeah.
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 Big bushes because
Well, you want to think, obviously she's not going to die because she's so ensconced in the DC lore.
Not really, though.
But the way that they have so turned it and
know.
made Barbara Keene a villain, yeah, you're like, well, okay, maybe this is just how Gotham's going to tell this story.
Yeah.
There is no more Barbara Keene, and Gordon ends up marrying Lee. And,
well, I'm thinking that my thought process is that is that they've got the ability now to put her in rehabilitation, put her in Arkham or whatever, and be treated, and they can have her off the show for a while, and she can come back later on, and she can be rehab, she can be fine, or whatever, and then years and years down the road they get back together, they get married, and they have a Batgirl, and they have Jim Gordon Jr. So who's a serial killer? His mom's crazy, or is, whatever, So I think that's where they're going with it. They're just getting her off the show for the time being. She'll be off. That whole thing will end at least temporarily. Maybe she'll come back later on, but I think she comes back rehabbed, honestly.
and
Because I was thinking how they gonna make that switch.
Yeah.
And they made a bit. Lee made such a big deal about she needs help. She needs help. Just put her in prison and get her the help she needs. That was her big focus on Barbara.
Right.
So I think because they were driving that home through Lee's character, that's their end game. But we're wrong. Been wrong before.
so now Barbara's in custody. Theo gets arrested because now they know that he kidnapped Mayor James, and so that's all out there. So things are out there now.
Yep.
How are they going to fall? No one knows. No one knows. Except the people who write Gotham. So that will about do it for this episode of After Gotham. I would like to thank David Cottingham. You can follow him on Twitter at dcottingham21. Thank you to Russell Johnson. You can follow him at Director421. And you can follow their podcast and video cast. It is at In the Comics. That's comics with an X. Like that. Like,
I'll do that.
yeah, you can just do that. And follow this show at After Gotham. Special thanks to producer Anthony Guglielmi. And until... Okay, there's some applause.
Guglielmi.
Very good.
I'm sorry. Is that wrong?
Guglielmi.
That's going to be that's probably going to be the trivia question. So when we have is how do you spell his last name? That's a great trivia
There you go.
question.
There you go.
Anyway.
They can just watch the credits. And speaking of credits, they're coming up soon. So until next time, I'm Chad Perkins at ChadPerkins21 on Twitter, saying you guys can stay frosty.